this is Grian and welcome to another video. Today we are reading chapter 40 of Hermitcraft Mayhem, the last chapter of this book. This is a Minecraft-inspired fanfiction where I put all the Minecraft YouTubers that I enjoy watching into a Minecraft universe and see what happens. And, yeah. The attack has now been, the ambush has now been thwarted, and here we are at the calm after the storm. Shall we get started? There are captions available if you want to follow along, but you don't have to. Let's get going. The darkness was like a void. Nothingness every which way Grian looked. It was both peaceful and eerie. Grian reached out his hand into the darkness. Or at least, he thought he did. Because he felt nothing. What was this? Where was he? Was he dead? No. He definitely wasn't dead. Was he? What even happened to people who died? Where did they go? Curiosity sparked inside him as he attempted to push against the darkness. Against the nothingness. But obviously, there was nothing there. The nothing felt heavy and loaded with things he didn't want to go into. Like he was repelled by the nothingness, even though it was all around him. Was he in a dream world? Was he trapped inside a cave? A very small cave? Or in a box? Or worse, somewhere where his friends wouldn't be able to find him. Was this what Gerald meant by a nightmare he could never wake up from? Hello? Can anyone hear me? Grian felt his lips move. They definitely were moving. But nothing came out. No vibrations reached his ears, indicating that anything he said was audible. No echo bouncing off the walls. Almost like he hadn't spoken at all. What's this place? He hated it already. He wanted out. He wanted his friends. Where were his friends? Was Scar okay? Beat-ups? The patrol? Had the rescue party rescued Impulse? Had they... A lump formed in his throat, hating how his body trembled against the thick nothingness. He was alone here, just like Gerald would have wanted. Was he here? No. The man was still out there, alive. He couldn't be in a dream world. Was he even in a dream world? Can anybody hear me? Grian cried out again. But again, nothing came out. His cries went on unheard, as a heavy weight of dread pressed down. Everything was gone. Everyone gone. There's nothing here to find. Nothing. No! This can't be it. This can't be how it ends, Grian demanded, trying to claw at the nothingness around him, to break free of the invisible walls he couldn't feel. He had to get out of here. Had to find his friends. They had to be here, somewhere. Keep fighting. The thought was faint, almost like it was coming from miles away, too far out of his reach. But he knew that voice. Tears burned in his eyes as he pressed against the shadows. Scar, can you hear me? What's going on? Where are you? Grian pleaded, gasping when the darkness vanished in a flash, replacing his vision with a scene. Pain shot through his body as Grian screamed, tears blurring his vision as he saw one of his closest friends looming over him, holding a weapon that could spell the end for him. This can't be real. This can't be happening. Grian struggled against the restraints, panic and confusion dousing him with wave after wave. He was trapped. There was no place for him to go. Not again. Grian looked up at the face above him, unsure what he was even seeing anymore. This was the last memory he remembered before. And there it was. The darkness returned. The nothingness. The cycle continuing round and round. Someone please get me out of here. Grian screamed, lifting his head up into the nothingness that was everywhere. What was happening to him? How was this happening? Would he ever escape this horrible nightmare? Keep trying, G. You can do it. A second voice. You knew that voice as well. Skis. How did he manage to find him? No, his voice also sounded far away. But he was out there, somewhere. Help! Grian slammed his fists against the nothingness, his friend's hands passing through air. Suddenly, another spark of curiosity trickled into his mind. What would happen if he started walking, running? What would happen if he tried fighting this horrible nothingness, this horrible memory? Was it a memory or a dream? Shouldn't he be at the fortress with his friends? Was any of this real? You both need to fight it, Skiz's voice demanded. Was it Grian's imagination, or did it sound slightly closer? Grian shook his head, taking a deep breath before pausing. Both? Both of them needed to fight this? Who was with him? Dread nibbled at his heart as he straightened. Scar was okay, right? He wasn't sure. The last thing he remembered was a sharp, piercing pain in his sword arm, his vision swimming for a few moments before the darkness took hold. He had no way of knowing if the 6 clones got past him, Skiz and Liam. Clearly, Skiz seemed fine, though, and Scar sounded fine as well, but was that just a dream world playing tricks on him? Was this something else? Something far worse? Excuse me. Come on, G. You have to try, Skiz insisted firmly. Yes, his voice was gradually becoming clearer and closer the more he spoke. Skiz, can you hear me? Grian took a cautious step forward. All he felt was nothingness. What would happen if the memory came back? Would it come back? No, I'm not going to fall for that again, Grian stated, forcing himself to raise his head high. He was going to do this. He had to fight this, even though it felt like he was drowning alone and afraid. Skiz gave him no response, but Grian wasn't deterred. He took another step, a third, and a fourth, shoving aside the nothingness, the invisible walls that weren't there. This wasn't real. This was just a trap to keep him here. He had to push through, had to make it to the other side. I don't know if it's working. Skiz's voice filled his mind again, this time echoing across the chasm of nothingness. Grian's heart skipped a beat. We have to keep trying. Jem! Relief filled Grian as he pressed harder. He wasn't alone. His friends were here. Of course they would. They would never leave him behind. Never think in a million years to do any harm to him. That memory had to be fake. It had to... Grian yelped as he was yanked backward into the darkness, blinking as his vision returned to that horrible room. Pulse looming over him, dagger in hand, a blank expression on his face, as if he didn't care that he was about to hurt one of his friends. No! I was so close! Grian yelled, his cries turning into screams as the dagger was raised over his head once again. There was no escape from this horrible nightmare. Tears flooded his eyes like hot coals over a burning flame. This isn't real. You're not real. This isn't happening. I'm sorry, Grian. Impulse's voice was monotone, void of any emotion or feeling, almost like a robot. Was it a robot? No, I'm not going to let you keep doing this to me, Grian demanded, struggling to free himself from his restraints. It was no use. There was never any use. It was over. There was no point in fighting. Stop! Grian screamed again as the vision faded away, returning to the nothingness. Grian choked out a sob as he fell to his knees, putting his head in his hands as he struggled to fight against the cold, dark thoughts he knew weren't his. Whatever they were, he wasn't sure. But this wasn't him. That wasn't Impulse either. It couldn't be. His friend had too big of a heart to do something like that to him. Or anyone, for that matter. Impulse was more likely to sacrifice himself than hurt Grian, or any of his friends. Grian wasn't sure how much time had passed. He noticed the nothingness fading away, now replaced with a dull warmth, almost like sunlight. He was crying, sobbing. Was it coming from him or someone else? Almost there, G. You can do it. Jem's whisper was close, closer than ever, as if she was right next to him. A wave of strength and warmth filled him, soaking every dark corner of his beating heart as he tried to take deep breaths. He felt someone gently shaking his shoulders, what he was pretty sure were supposed to be his shoulders, as he hiccuped, letting his eyes slowly flutter open. Blech. Yes. Grian? Third voice. Smaller. Shakier. Still there. Grian blinked, turning his head to see Jem kneeling at his bedside, resting a hand on his forehead. Moved his eyes across the room. Sitting up in bed, arms wrapped around his middle, was his best friend at his side, with Impulse. The older hermit's face was pale, drained of all color. His gaze looked almost sad. Grian reached out his mental hand toward his friend, pulling back in surprise as a tsunami of pain and guilt bombarded him. He turned his gaze. Can you not feel that? His lips tightened into a line, looking toward his best friend, wrapping an arm around Impulse's shoulders. What's going on, buddy? Tears filled Impulse's brown eyes. So sorry, Grian. You didn't hurt me. Grian said plainly. Shem squeezed Grian's shoulder as the young hermit sat up. There's nothing to be sorry about. How do you know? You must have seen. I did, Grian said calmly. I did see it. It made no sense. I tried calling out to you, Impulse admitted shakily, letting out a little sniffle. I tried to help you. Instead, You didn't hurt him, Blake spoke up, getting out of bed. Julius, Sam, and I found Gerald looming over Grian with a weapon, not you. You did. Impulse blinked, a wave of confusion washing over the older hermit's face. You were still locked in your cell, trapped in whatever nightmare he put you in. You're sure? Impulse asked. Positive. Blake tapped his temple. You're free to use the headband on me to take a look at my memories, if you don't believe me. No, I believe you, Impulse whispered, wiping tears from his eyes. You wanted to make me watch. I know. Skids pulled his best friend into a full hug. Impulse didn't fight him. His muffled sobs the only thing Grian could hear. Trust me, buddy. We know. Grian swallowed, feeling his own tears burning in his eyes as he wiped them away, pulling his blankets closer to himself. So, what now? First, you two need to get better. Haley spoke, blazing down a medical kit right by the brewing stand. Then, of course, that's up to you. Me? Grian asked. All of us, really, Jim said softly. Rose found a place for us. A world not touched by anyone who wants to hurt us. She offered us a chance to start over. A clean slate, to just be ourselves for a while. That work? Grian asked, his eyes trailing back to Impulse and Skiz. Probably won't last forever, but it could go for a good while before we have to deal with the likes of Gerald and Richard. Grian nodded his head slowly. With the clones being dealt with as we speak. The only known machine was destroyed, Haley said positively. So we've got a chance at coming out of this without serious harm. What about you guys? Where will you go? Grian pressed. That's a decision each of us have to make, Haley replied. Sam, Leanne, and Julius have already made up their minds. They have? Grian blinked. They He won't be far if we ever need them, Jem whispered with a smile. If something comes up, or if we just need someone to talk to. Grian nodded. That would be nice. It would. Impulse nodded. He looked over at Blake. What about you? What would you prefer? Blake asked, giving his friend a smile. Don't go too far, Impulse replied. I won't be, Blake encouraged, crossing his arms, his smile widening. If you need anything, I'll be there. Even if it's to start a war? Grian asked. Jem giggled. Would we be that bored to need one? Impulse smiled. All we'd have to do is dive back into the chaos that's already around us. Fair enough, Grian giggled, kicking back his blankets. So when do we leave? False wants to make sure everyone knows first, so we can all talk about it. We'll be back in a few days to hear our verdict, then make plans from there. Jem said cheerfully. Sooner the better, Grian sighed. I miss having things being normal, even if it's for a little while. We'll see how you feel about that in a few months, G-Man, Haley teased, shaking her head. I'll let Pulse know your verdict, unless you're up for it. Can I? Grian straightened. I'm not stopping you, Haley shrugged. Grian immediately put his feet on his hardwood floor. Let me go with you, Jem suggested, walking around the bed. In case you need it. I think I'll be okay, Grian said calmly, looking up at his friend. This time, it felt right. Real. True. He was going to be okay. No matter what happened next. Whether they were discovered or not. Took on the battle themselves or not. Or just spent time together as friends. As family. It would be all count for something. It was worth every minute of this battle. For now, he was ready to relax. Take a breath. Just be with his friends without fearing for his life or looking over his shoulder to make sure no one was following him. He would truly be safe for the first time in what felt like forever. So looking forward to that. And that, my friends, is the end of Hermitcraft Mayhem. What a ride! And yeah, floating troubles aren't necessarily over. Same with the target, they find ways to do it. These guys aren't like the target. They're not that stupid. To have just one, which is huge stampies. They do have some redstone geniuses among them, so never say never to that. If I find a good reason for it, I'll use it. Yeah. But that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Whenever that might be. See ya.